For a lot of people who already know your background, and this is just for the benefit of our listeners who may not, no exaggeration to say you are the most decorated Korean-born player in the National Hockey League, two-time Stanley Cup winner with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I guess a lot of people will be wondering, as a kid growing up in Canada, how did that all come about?
Well, growing up in Canada, I was born in Korea and moved to Canada, and everyone plays hockey.
Sure.
And if you want to have friends and if you want to fit in, you have to play hockey. My older brother played, and I wanted to follow my older brother. So that's how I got started into hockey, and it was a good thing I did because I absolutely love the sport.
You can forgive me if I'm wrong, correct me, but the reputation of hockey being a very white sport, so to speak, maybe a little less diverse than you see with some of the other sports like baseball and football and basketball and what have you. Did you face some difficult times, whether it's discrimination or just other challenges making your way into the sport?
Well, Toronto, I grew up in Toronto, and Toronto's a very
Sure.
multicultural city. And so I had a lot of friends from different cultures, different backgrounds. So that part of it really wasn't a factor. Just as always growing up, kids can be mean, and
Right.
sure enough, there is always some of that bad, lack of a better term, racism or whatever, prejudice. But playing the sport, I believe that the players that play the sport come from good families, and they're brought up well with good morals, and they judge you on how you play, not what you look like, not where you come from, and those type of things. And I think the more you make an issue out of it, the more it's going to become an issue. So for me, it was water off a duck's back.
Okay.
Let's play hockey. And my father always told me, he says, if he does one, you do two, do
Right.
extra, become the best you can be. So, you know, of course, there's always obstacles like that, but it's how much you put into it or
Sure.
you think about it, it'll affect you.
It definitely does sound like great advice from your dad. Now, we talk about your decorated playing career. You also coached in the minors for a while in the U.S. and Canada, I believe, mostly in the U.S.
Yes.
What was the transition then to come all the way over here to Korea, the motherland, so to speak, and coach the men's national hockey team?
It's kind of like a dream come true. Always in the back of my mind, there was always, let's go back to Korea. Let's go back. Let's be a part of that. Wouldn't it be great if Korea could be part of the Korean national team, be part of the Olympics? So it was always in the back of my mind. And, my father and I, we've always had conversations about being a part of Korean hockey. And here was an opportunity for me, one, to be in part of the Olympics, and two,
Sure.
to represent Korea.
It was a signing that a lot of people, of course, paid attention to, just again because of your pedigree as a former NHL player, a two-time champion, but also the fact that I guess, as we all know, hockey's never really been a prominent sport in South Korea in its history. They've not been among the elites. How challenging was that? Essentially, almost building the program from the ground up, right?
There was lots of challenges, but there was lots of solutions also, and that's what I looked at. The attitude I had was, okay, we have this team, we have a certain amount of players that we can pick from. We need structure. We need to change the culture a little bit, but the attitude was, okay, let's find solutions, and it was easy. I think the players, they were ready for somebody new, something different, and they're like sponges. I came in. They wanted to absorb everything I had, everything I learned in North America as a player, as a coach, and wanted to learn more and absorb everything and work extremely hard. So I've been very fortunate to have great players like that.
Well, that's actually an interesting point because I know there's a lot of parallels and it's not a fair comparison, so to speak. But when Goose Hiddink came over and took over the men's national soccer team and that great success they had during the 2002 World Cup run, there was often talk about some of the cultural differences that a person, although born in Korea, your career was in the West, of how players interact with coaches. Korean coaches tend to be a little bit more different, maybe more methodical, maybe more of a taskmaster in the way they do things. Were any of those kind of cultural nuances in play when you were adjusting?
Well, sure, everything has there's always a factor involved. But growing up in a Korean family, I understood a few of those cultural differences. But it was, I had to cut things off at the knees and say, hey, this is how I want
Mm.
things to be done. And I was very fortunate enough to have the support all around me, from the president all the way down, to allow me to move forward and teach the process to these players, and the players accepted that, teaching the process. Like I said, the players were very, very receptive to what I had, and we were very fortunate enough to have success, a little bit of success right off the bat, to
Mm.
say, oh, maybe he has something worth giving here. So it worked out really well, and but I think the key part of that was just teaching the process, moving step by step, and not overwhelming with
Mm.
everything all at once.
I think another key part of the success has also been the addition of formerly Canadian nationals to kind of give a boost, as well as be part of the synergy with what you're building here. A lot of questions in regards to that is, of course, these players have received Korean citizenship and will be eligible to play in the upcoming 2018 Pyeongchang Olympics. What is how does that work, and how has that transition also been with the addition of the foreign national players?
Well, those players had been in Korea before I was even
Okay,
here.
okay. So they weren't just imports that were kind of
Absolutely.
shipped over
Yeah, no,
on a catalog or
they
something.
weren't say, hey, come on over and play in the Olympics. They
Yeah,
were here. For example, Brock Radensky, one of the oldest imports in Korea, who came over with his experience in North America, brought it over to Korea when they first started the Asian League. So he's been here for many years, along with a few other players, Michael Swift and Brian Young, who accepted the culture, has involved themselves in the culture, um, and made themselves Koreans. Basically, they eat the food, they
mm,
speak the language. And if you see the video of the World Championships last year, they're all arm in arm, uh, singing the Korean national anthem, and they were all singing the Korean national anthem. So they have a lot of
yeah,
Korean pride, which has brought a great dynamic to the team. And when they first came over, it was to raise the standard of play,
yeah.
absolutely. And they've done that, and now the Korean players are matching that, and so it's been great.
So for the hockey team, and whether there were not such great outsized expectations initially, this great run during the 2017 IHF World Championship Division 1, I think we can say maybe South Korea exceeded some of those expectations. Now a lot more focus, and perhaps even some hope that the team may perform better than expected. Do you welcome that kind of pressure?
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. Uh, Being the best you can be, preparing yourself to win, not preparing yourself to lose. So that's what I expect, and those pressures, if you want to say, or those high expectations, are great, and I think
Hmm.
that's needed. Where being close enough isn't good enough anymore for us, and they have to believe that, and I believe in the players that we prepare ourselves, we work extremely hard to win, and we don't prepare to lose.
Right, and obviously you would not say this was a fluke or a one-time thing. You go into the tournament. Can we say it's a fairly tough group? We have Canada, we have Czech Republic. I understand at this point the NHL superstars won't be making their way over, but these teams are so deep that that level of talent would put Team Korea as underdogs. How do you assess the competition?
Well, absolutely. NHL or no NHL players, there's so many great hockey players in the world, especially in Canada. They have over 500,000 registered hockey players. And at the pro level, too, they're spread out all over the country, all over the world, playing in different leagues in Switzerland, in Russia, Sweden, all those great hockey nations they're playing. So they have a deep pool. The Czech Republic, they have a great hockey league also in the Czech Republic, with a few handful of players, like Yager just signed with
Yeah, we were just
Calgary.
talking about
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you know but I don't think that will affect them. And same with Switzerland also. Maybe one or two players, and it's the same with the rest of the country. So it's going to be a great Olympics and very competitive, and real exciting.
We talk about punching above your weight, and if we say that South Korea will be underdogs here, from what I understand with my hockey aficionado friends, is that the one strength that Korea has, and I guess you would agree, is that they have speed relative to their other strengths. These other teams may be known for being a bit more bruising, bigger, stronger physically. Will speed be one of the factors as far as tactically trying to get some results in these games?
Absolutely. You have to work to your strengths, but then saying that, all the other teams are fast too.
Right.
And they play at a different level. But that's why it's very important for us as the competition gets harder. We have to be better as a team, not as individuals. So we'll really focus on real hard to play games as a team.
The aftermath of Pyeongchang, whatever the results will be, and we do hope, of course, everyone's inspired by the play of the men's hockey team. What do you think the future then is for hockey? Building this game up through the grassroots, hopefully for the long term, with South Korea emerging as one of the powerhouse nations.
Oh, absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head, and by saying grassroots, and that's where we have to start. I believe this is the start of Korean hockey, a second generation kind of thing, where the players that I have now, with all their worldly experiences and game experiences at this level, can bring that back and teach the younger generation. And that's the very important part, where that's where our development will grow and get better and better.
As far as your tenure here, how long term do you feel post Pyeongchang you'll be a part of that growth?
Well, up to the World Championships then, and then we'll have to evaluate and see where we need to go next. But most importantly, we focus right here on the Olympics, and then after the Olympics is the World Championships again, with the top 16 teams in the world, and that's a new territory, new different world that we've never experienced. So we're excited.
So no plans then after that World Championship to perhaps put the skates on back yourself, maybe team up with Sidney Crosby, go back to your old team, just like your buddy Jaromir Jagr doing with Calgary and.
Well, I wanted to do that, maybe be a player coach here and play in the Olympics as a dream, but the body just doesn't move like the mind wants it to. So.
Well, obviously, maybe a little bit of disappointment there for some of the fans who wanted to see a two-time Stanley Cup champion take the ice for Team Korea. Any final thoughts to our audience members before we say goodbye?
First, I'd like to thank everyone in Korea, the media, you guys here, for giving us the exposure to putting Korean hockey on the map, and the excitement, building the excitement up for the Olympics, and that's been really big for us. That the recognition on how well, or the understanding on how hard our players have worked to represent the country of Korea, and so I'm very proud to represent Korea, being the coach of this national team. I know the players are, and we will work extremely hard to make everyone proud. And we're shooting for the gold. Why not?
Why not, indeed. We'll all be rooting for you, Coach Paek. A pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, and of course, best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
수고하셨습니다.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.